This is Pod Populi, podcast for the people.
Hi, everyone, and welcome to the Femme Force podcast. My name is Rachel Paskvan, and I am your host. And today I am excited to be joined by Melanie Logan. So, Melanie is not only an accomplished athletic director, but she is a former professional athlete for Nike and a mother of four. So, she's doing it all. She's doing all the things. We're going to talk about navigating a male-dominated industry and the challenges of balancing career and motherhood. And we're going to talk about her upcoming book and just everything that's been going on in her life. So, Melanie, thank you so much for joining. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me. I'm excited to be here.
So, tell the audience just a little bit about yourself and how, you got to where you are right now.
My name is Melanie Logan, as you heard. I am currently an athletic director at a private school, and I oversee the middle school and high school athletic program. In addition to that, I'm a mother of four children, which is a lot. I used to run track through high school, and that's what kind of led me on the path to wanting to be involved in athletics. Post-collegiately, post-professionally, I always knew that I wanted to be helping youth kind of guide them in a way. Athletics is a way to experience the world, learn drive and discipline and focus. So that was kind of some of the things that I wanted to be able to pass forward through my experience. And right now I am kind of in the mix of pressing forward the female athlete initiative at the school, really focusing on the middle schoolers, getting them to understand that they can be as equally as successful and appreciated as the boys in school, but also males when you get to college and even on a higher level. Professionally, we see some of the same things that happen on the middle school level, right? In terms of more attendance to the boys' events versus the girls' events. And that's happening on a main scale as well. So really just keeping our female athletes and, young girls encouraged and excited about their path.
Yeah, and you have to be such a good role model for that too, where they can be like, look at her, like she did all these things and she's a grown up now.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think sometimes it's the way that you connect to the younger generation, especially right now, because they're very take it for what they see. So they see me as okay, she's an athletic director, she's a mom, she's like a robot. Like all kids think moms are robots, right? So it's like, oh, they take me places and they make food for me and they bring me
They don't
clothes.
grasp that that's a multifaceted enterprise that you're running, but that's cool.
Right. So really helping them to understand, before I got here, right? I was your same age. At one point in my life, I was your same age doing the same thing you're doing, right? So I'm telling you from experience. So it takes a little bit of time. But what's one of my approaches with the students at the school, I don't really let them know up front, who I am and what my experience is, right? I don't wear that. Some places you go and you have to wear that, in the door, you got to wear it, which is not ideal, but you kind of have to wear it in order to be in certain spaces. People are kind of weird like that sometimes. But kids, they're kind of yeah, we just see you as normal human person. But then once I start having conversations with them and I'm like, oh, well, that, I used to run track. I started in high school. I went on to run for a Division I NCAA, program. And then they're kind of then they start listening because then they're like, oh, so you used to be an athlete too.
So you had a life.
So then I'm yes, I competed for the USA team internationally. I've traveled on the European track circuit and the Caribbean track circuit. Then they're like, oh, so you got a little bit of something that comes with you, everything is they believe everything on Instagram and Facebook. And if you're just telling them, they're kind of we didn't see it on our
it wasn't on the TikTok, so I don't know what you're talking about. That's not possible. God forbid we Wikipedia you. Even know what that is.
So really just being able to relate to them and keep them encouraged is kind of the main space I'm in right now.
I mean, I love that. And I mean, you ran for Nike, which is insane. I mean, it's Nike and you've gotten to travel the world, like you said, through sports. So what are the biggest lessons or some of the biggest lessons you learned from your time as a professional athlete and especially at Nike?
I would just say to just let go, right? Like let go, relax, and just float up to being your best self. I think sometimes we put so much pressure on ourselves that we don't realize that the self-generated pressure is like pushing us down, right? So it's kind of like, oh, well, what do I think about this? We're like judging ourselves and always putting more pressure. I would always be very like, well, you could have ran better that race. I'd like watch film and get really like, yes, film is important, but when you get like really like, let me rewind that part. Wait, my arm did like a, was I breathing the right way? Like super, super nitpicky. But then other times when I just would let go and just and flow and just know that everything that is supposed to be designed for me is presenting itself and it's always been like good stuff. Just let it flow, right? That's like one thing that I would say to my younger self. Like, hey, relax. You're in the space you're supposed to be because you're supposed to be there and you're good at what you do. Like, don't doubt yourself.
Yeah.
Don't start, questioning where you are and why you're there. Like, even to get into running for Nike, it's so funny, just the story of thinking how I was like manifesting and not even really knowing that
Mhm.
that was what I was doing. So, early on from middle school and high school, as I was running, I always knew that I wanted to represent the US and I wanted to compete internationally. You would always hear about the European track circuits and, teams traveling and athletes being able to run around the world. And I said, well, I want to do that. Did I know how to do that? No. Is there like an application you fill out to like do that? No, it's definitely about networking and who you know, but also putting that energy out there that that's what you want. Like the universe is always listening. God is always listening. So it's like if you're saying like, okay, this is what I want, this is what we're looking for, but it came to me. So after college, I had a former like teammate of one of my other friends that had knew somebody that was connected to the Nike farm team in Palo Alto. So then I said I wanted to run, and then he says, okay, well, let me introduce you to my coach. Like just
Yeah.
as simple as that, right? Whereas nobody would know that that's like the simplicity of what happened on the back end. But then he introduced me to the coach. I flew out there. My test was a workout, so I had to do a
Yeah.
workout with some of the girls. So that like was a test. But I passed and it was good. And after I was all like throwing up and like kind of like, because it
Yeah,
was
because you're
hard.
nervous and all the things. And yeah,
Yeah,
literally throwing
but
up
he
before each
knew.
day of a new job. I'm like, nope, nope.
Well, because it's that. So it's like you're already anxious because it's an interview, but it's also like a workout interview. That was like, so depending on how I do at this is like determining if I make the
Yes.
team. So, went through that and it was good. And then, from there, he invited me to join the team. And then I booked a one-way flight. They were leaving from California to move to Oregon to prepare for the Olympic trials that were going to be in Eugene, Oregon. Never been to Oregon in my life. Got an invite, booked a
You
one-way
know,
ticket. like,
but what an
like it's just
adventure.
definitely an adventure. Definitely an adventure. So it's as a mom right now, it's like I want to encourage my children to have that same like excitement and like just go for itness, right? But then as an adult, I'm kind of being like trying to make that like structure of like, okay, we don't just book one-way tickets and go places,
That was
guys.
just for mommy that one time. It was that's a mommy thing.
Only a mommy thing. Although she's done it twice because I did that when I moved to LA too. I just was like, we're just gonna book a one-way flight and I'm gonna let the universe path the way for me of like where I'm supposed to be and what I'm doing. But it's always worked. And that's something that I try to teach my children, but also teach the athletes that I work with that's already in you.
Yeah.
And that's the part when you let go and you let go of like all the stuff, the status quo and like the world telling you you have to be this way and do this and do that. Once you let go, it's like it's gonna flow naturally.
1,000%.
Yeah.
It was such what an amazing journey and an amazing adventure and just like the phenomenalness of it all that
Yeah.
you can say like I was a professional athlete for Nike. It's not like Nike's gone away by any
Right.
shape or form. So like it's a really big deal. And then you transition from doing that into being an athletic director. So I want to talk about like how you moved from competing to leading and the differences between on the field versus managing the field. So what was the hardest part of stepping away from competing and into leadership?
To be super honest and very transparent, the structure and regime of my days as
Yeah,
an
I can see that.
athlete, I had my workout planned. That was like, that was my day, right? Like everything revolved around my workout. So then I was doing, personal training. I had clients the same time as I was running professionally.
Mhm.
So that would just work around my workout. I'd have like a couple of like 5 a.m., 6 a.m. clients. Then I'd have maybe some like 4 or 5 p.m. clients, but everything worked around my workout.
Yeah.
My workout took probably about like, I'd say 4 or 5 hours out of my day, right? Like if it's like your workout prep to be on the track, and then if you're doing something in the weight room. So that's the main part that I miss the most, and the challenge for me now as an athletic director, because I'm at my desk so much. So, a lot of the stuff that's on the back end to make sure that I'm providing, this, I always have this idea of this unparalleled experience that I'm giving all of these kids, that they're going
Like,
to remember, like in high school I was able to do this, and I had these uniforms, and we traveled here, and just some really cool stuff in that sense. But there's a lot of stuff that comes on the back end with that, right? So, the emails and the paperwork and then I'll be like, I've been sitting at my desk for like 3 hours. Like that is like, so I'd say that just on a surface level has been the main part, for me, of not having the structure to my days where I can focus on my workout and my, my meditation and my massages and like doing that kind of stuff. It was planned. That was your life. Like getting in the ice bath is not like a luxury. Going to, get your massage is not, that was like part of my day. So I miss that. And that part is like not happening as an athletic director, but I'm also really able to be hands-on in the coaches that are running the programs, and really
yeah.
know, what they're doing, what their philosophies are, what type of coaching styles they have, how they're interacting with the athletes, how they're interacting with parents, and just the rapport that they're building. Are they teaching them how they align themselves in body, mind, and spirit, right? Is it all three, or are they just only training them on the physical end? Like
Yeah.
there's so much that comes with that. So really being able to have hands on that part to make sure that the athletes are getting, a great experience is, that's kind of the most fun part. That's like the exciting part.
Yeah. And I mean, you're working with kids all day and then you have four at home. Does any of it cross kind of on how you do things, like from with the kids at school and how you lead them to at
Oh
home?
yeah. Well, 1,000%, because sometimes I'll just bring my kids here.
Love that.
Everybody's just like here because I'm essentially like momming the student athletes too. Like we travel and we'll go to different trips. And it was funny. We went to, I don't know where we were. We were in Maryland area. And I guess sometimes they forget. Again, they think we're like robots. They don't know that at one point, like I was staying in hotels with my friends and then trying to see if the coach is like by the door. And then
You're
we
like,
like
I've lived this life already. Try it.
so I remember when we were younger, we went to travel to a track meet somewhere, and we decided we wanted Waffle House, and we
As you
figured our
should.
coach was sleeping. So we like snuck out and went to go get Waffle House. And when we came back to walk up the hotel stairs, because we're all like, right, like thinking he
Mhm.
was standing at the bottom of the stairs waiting for us. And then we just quietly walked up the stairs. I'm pretty sure he took our Waffle House. I don't think we got to eat it. Anyway,
You
but
maybe eat it
traveling with
there.
no, we took it to go. We got it to go because we were trying to move fast. Anyway, but this was around the same age, high school
Yeah.
age, that these kids are now. So similar thing. We're on a trip. We give them a curfew. Me and some of the coaches are like walking through the hallways, and they're just like, like peeking around and trying to be. And then somebody got out the elevator, and they're just like walking all casually. And then we're like, "What are you doing?"
The
Like we're not asleep.
confidence.
We're not asleep. We're like so anyway, so yeah, there is a lot of the momming that happens in both places, but I think that that's something that I can bring to this role that's unique and something that's like helpful because they receive it differently, it's received in a softer way, whereas if it was like, these are the rules, this is what we're doing, it would be kind of, not received the same way.
Yeah, no, 1,000%. And I think they just forget, like we've had lives, guys. It's how you don't get away with anything. Like I lived. I mean, I love
Yes.
to sleep now. So I don't know about staying up watching them, but I'm like, don't think I don't know what you're all doing. Like,
Right, that part. And what's fun is that when I'll bring my kids here, they're still relatively young. My oldest is 9, my second is 7, third is, how old is she? 3, and then my fourth is 2.
So you're like, nope. You're like, I can wrangle all these like none other. Like,
Yeah, yeah. So it's crazy town. I always joke and say that every day at my house is like a kid's birthday party because it's like, okay, everyone, let's get our coats off. Let's like get our homework out. Let's, just kind of gathering everybody. What do you want to eat? Okay, what do you want to drink? Okay, these are the options. These are the party options that we have
the
available.
patience you have, like I can mind
Yeah,
blowing.
yeah. Well,
I'm
the
the It's
patience.
like, you did what? Go tell your mom and dad. Don't look at that's not Aunt Rachel's job. She doesn't do that. She does not do that.
No, sometimes that does happen because you have to like, okay, you have to like make a decision in the moment. Is this what amount of energy am I going to put out and is it worth it? Like that's the thing I have to like balance with myself even at work, at home, the amount of energy that I'm going to spend whether I'm getting upset or if I'm happy or whatever it may be, like is that amount is it going to be wasted that amount of energy or does it make sense for what's happening?
I mean, 1,000%. And you're in this, leadership position in sports. And I mean, a lot of times it's very male dominated, the sports industry in general, but also, the leadership. We're just now starting to see female coaches for like male sports teams. And
Yeah.
so, which is phenomenal. But what are some of the biggest misconceptions you faced as a woman in this industry?
Sometimes I don't even think that people realize that those things exist
Yeah.
until they see it and it's different. Because even now you see some referees in football games or in the NBA that are female referees, which people are kind of like, well, do they know the game? Well, it's like no, that's their job. They like do know the game because that's their job. So I think the balancing of like I don't know. For me, I'm not necessarily going to be doing some of the, grunt work, dig a hole, do some stuff. I'm going to hire someone to do it. I'm not being funny.
Yeah.
I'm not going to like calculate how to, paint lines and do some, like, I'm not doing that. Right. I'm not putting together certain things. I'm going to call maintenance, like, not because I can't, but because I'm going to be more efficient with my
Yeah,
time and the
absolutely.
amount of
Outsource.
effort that I'm putting forward. So I think that sometimes is a misconception of maybe the can't do it versus the I'm not gonna do it. Right. There's kind of like a thing of like, no, I can if I needed to, but I think sometimes extra effort and things may be a waste of energy or mind space. So kind of approaching it a different way, but also the work-life balance of having children at home and
Yeah.
with being in athletics, a lot of the events and things happen after school. So really timing when there's games and practices. That's why some days I'll bring my kids here, mostly the boys,
Yeah.
and the girls will be home with the nanny. But it's that part is the balancing because it's like, oh, well, if you kind of have a family, like, ugh, I don't know if you could do this job, right? But it's like nobody's saying that, right?
No,
Nobody's
but they're
gonna
thinking it. They're thinking it. It's the
yeah, so
unspoken.
then just connecting with some of the other females that are in the athletic world and seeing how they balance their work life, right? Like a lot of the other males who have children and wives, the wives are kind of helping manage the kids' schedules and so then the wife being the one who's in the athletic director realm is kind of like, okay, so now how do we do this? We call in grandma and grandpa, we call in the nanny, we call in, like
You call in the
just
village. Call in the
yes,
whole village.
yes. So that's kind of one of the things that's been, super helpful with the balancing of the hours. But sometimes it's like it'll be like a strength thing. Sometimes I think in terms of like athletics and women, nobody's saying that. These are kind of the all unspoken
Mhm.
things, but that goes back to the can you do it or am I going to get someone else to do it for me?
No, a
It goes
thousand percent. And I mean, just women in leadership, that's also something that's like very difficult in all the fields and things like that. But especially mothers, do you think as we're bringing more attention to it and we're talking about it more and we're seeing more really successful women who are mothers in both their industry and at home, do you think the perception is changing at all?
Oh, for sure. For sure. I think that in the past it was never really talked about. And in the past, it was like, well, this is what happens. The mom is home, she has kids, and then irons clothes and cooks foods and like does that stuff, right? When we think
Mhm.
back to like the images that we would see from like, you know, the 20s, you'd always see
Yeah.
like the mom, like, yeah, and the mom is still doing that, but the mom is also emailing and like on the phone and like in meetings, you know, like in meetings
Yeah.
while in the car driving, right? Like just being, I guess, dimensional with what you're able to offer, right? And then sometimes you kind of have to take a step back and be like, you know what? Today is not one of those days that I can do all of these things. Like I
Yeah.
just like, you know, but being able to show that we can, I think that's gonna continue to kind of permeate through the young women now to know, like, okay, I can have a career and also be a mother.
No, 1,000%. I saw a reel the other day and I wish I could give the woman credit because I do not remember it. But she was giving a speech and they were like, you own a company, you have 4 kids, you're married. You like, how do you do it all? And she's like, oh, I would love to tell you, like, I manifest, I'm grounded,
Oh,
I do all
yes.
these things. She goes, yeah, maybe for a day. She goes, and then by day 3, I'm screaming at my husband, I'm yelling at my kids. I'm like, what are you all doing? I'm crying in the shower. And I'm like, okay. She's like, that's the honesty. She's like, some days you're just
Yeah,
like, today I was a great employee. I was not a good mom. I was not a good wife. She goes, tomorrow I might be an excellent wife. Crap
yeah,
employee, crap mom. She goes, and it's going to rotate through. She's like,
yes,
just, it's
yes.
like the 100% for everything. She's like, you don't have 100%. Some
Well,
days,
the ebb and flow.
yeah, of it.
Yeah, the ebb and flow, 100% of it is, and I think that's kind of where social media and some of the things that we have today don't really show that part, right? And then that's where like the misconception takes place because then you see like, oh my gosh, like as a mom, I envision myself as like this like super fun and like fit mom. I'm like working out, I'm like working, doing my work, I'm like baking cookies, got my kids stuff going right. This is how I see myself. Am I doing it that way? Nope. Maybe one day I'm super mom making like fresh, you know, some like vegan gluten-free cookies that I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so proud of making this. But then I'm like 25 emails behind at work because I'm like,
But
so
you're
the
like, we
ebb
have
and
gluten
flow,
free. Don't you worry over here.
yeah, the ebb and flow. But I think the openness and the acceptance of that is really the main thing, right? Like, yes, this is who I am, and this is when you see me what you think this is, but there's layers to that, and it kind of comes and goes, like what the ebb and flow looks like.
No, 1,000. I mean, and it's so impressive. And you're balancing motherhood, your career, and you're writing a book. So like you're doing a lot right now. And I can't imagine like the pressure of doing that all. But like you manage schedules, priorities, expectations. How do you personally balance the demands of being an athletic director, a mom of 4, and now an author?
Um, Well, there's all those things that you were kind of mentioning that the other lady was saying
Yeah.
that she does. I do all of those things. And then, like, some days I'm like, you know what? I'm going to sleep a little longer. My meditation may not be as long, but something that I do make sure I'm doing every day is I have this little book. I was telling you about my books before. I
Yep.
have this little book and I write in it every day the magic that happened today. And the magic that happened today could be something so simple, like you're just, you know, on the way, you thought you were going to be late somewhere, but then all the lights were green
Read.
and then you got there
That
on
is
time.
magic. That is magic.
And then you're like, oh my gosh, but I think the like finding those little pieces throughout the day keeps my day rolling. The
Yeah.
other day I saw, yesterday this was, I saw a deer outside my office window and that came out of the forest and was just like nicely eating some grass and just looking around. And for a second I was like, oh my gosh, this is a magic moment because I was actually dealing with like a really kind of chaotic moment a few minutes before that. And then that was a reminder for me to just be like, nope, like let's like take a
Feed
breath
the
and
deer.
reset.
Feed the deer.
He's a deer. Yes, literally. That was what I was thinking. But it's finding those moments throughout the day to just kind of be easier on yourself and find positivity in it. That's really what I would say keeps me going. In terms of the book was something that I was like writing for myself to read and then realizing other people needed it
Yeah.
also. So, my book is called Focus Feelings, and it's really about how to align your emotions and your feelings with the words that you speak. The words that we speak have power.
Okay.
That's why, we have affirmations and we do all of these things that we're creating. But if you say affirmations and don't put the emotion and the feeling with it, you're not going to manifest anything. Like you're not going to be able to get it going. It won't get off the ground. It'll just be words that you're speaking. So really it's kind of putting power thought and power emotion behind the words that we speak. So there's, just kind of like where I came from with this and what it is and why. But also the words are kind of they're like fun. Like one of the words is like, fanatical. And it's like you say, okay, well, I'm fanatical about myself today. So I'm going to be conscious of all the interactions that I have. I'm going to be aware of my own energy. Like you're basically speaking blessings over yourself for each day, which is something that I think we don't do enough of.
No, 1,000%. We do not do at all enough of that. Just positive things that we should be saying. And I mean, I think this will be so good for moms because like there's so many moms and I know them that are like, but I want more. Like and not more than just my kids. I love my kids, but like a little something that's for me. But like how do you balance it and having a spouse and like and then kids get into sports and their freaking schedules are insane. Literally, they're insane.
Yeah.
Where I'm like, I don't feel like I did, like, did I do this stuff? And I'm like, Dad's like, this is why we bought you a car immediately at 16. He's like, I couldn't do it. I couldn't do the transportation anymore. He's like, we're driving everywhere. And he's like,
Yeah.
kid. So I'm like, I get that. But for
Mhm.
moms that are trying to like find that balance, what's one piece of advice you'd give them?
Uh, Well, take quiet moments when you can. And usually those are, I'm just going to be 100% honest, they're usually around like 4:30, 5 a.m. ish,
Yeah.
right? Like let's just keep it 100%. And really, one thing I've noticed about those time frames that early in the morning is when your spirit speaks the most to you because like your house is quiet, one, but
Mhm.
also like the world is quiet. Like nobody's really up with like the craziness yet. It's still kind of calm. So like you can wake up and like I'll drink my lemon water, kind of just like ground myself, reset, and then I'm able to flow with my thoughts, whether it's like planning out my day. Most of my book writing I do around that time frame, right? Like that 4:30. Sometimes I'll wake up out of my sleep, which is like, I don't know if that's like a good or bad thing, but I'll wake up with like, oh wait, I have these ideas. I got to write them down. But it's like when you give yourself a little bit of like calmness,
Yeah.
right? Like you have to save a little bit of yourself for yourself. And that was something that I've like just come to realize, I'd say after my fourth child. My sisters always joke with me because I always say that I'm a new mom every time that I've had a baby, and they think I'm psycho, but the reason I say I'm a new mom because it's a new season, right? Like so
Yeah.
every time it's a new child, but I'm becoming a new person each time. So now, yes, a mother of one. Yes, I've already been through the walk of like having a baby, but now I'm a mother of two, right? Nope. Okay, wait, now it's a little different. I'm a mother of three. Like each time I've evolved to being a new mom. And they're like, you're not a new mom. You're like a veteran mom.
It's a different kid with a different personality. And I can very much tell from an aunt, child one is very different than child two. Child
Yeah.
one is, some of them, sorry, Palmer, it's like sitting in a corner, playing with dolls, being quiet. Child two is burning the house down and walking through it. Like, what now? It's very different. It's very different.
Yeah, so you just have to evolve in that. But I would say just as like a mom, like embracing those feelings, having a moment to just like, what am I feeling like right now? Because a lot of times I don't know if it's like we're taught to do that or we just do that as women. We like suppress
Oh,
our own,
1,000%.
right? Because we're like, nope, keep it together. I am being, we kind of do the robot mom. I guess that's why kids think we're
Yeah.
robots. But it's like you have to embody those, embrace it, feel it, like sort through it. A lot of the stuff we can do, with each other or through ourselves. Journaling is something that I do every day. Like I have my magic book, but then I also have my
Bring out
little
the note.
journal
We got all
book.
the notebooks.
I have like, and I have to be able to just say, okay, you know what? Let me just write some things down and just like let that part flow, whether it's like you're feeling happy, sad, whatever it may be, you control your own energy,
Yeah.
and you have to be aware of that. So people and things, situations can make your energy change, but being aware of how to control your own kind of goes back to like the book, Focus Feelings. Like I'm focusing on what I want to feel right now. Like I'm focusing, like, how do I make my energy be a certain way? Because there's always going to be like stuff around you,
Yeah.
and it's like, how do you navigate through that without being completely thrown each direction that it's taking you? And I feel like because through experience, I have been thrown every direction, because then I'm like, you want to be the pleaser, and then you're wanting to be the like, okay, and then it's like, why am I doing that? And that doesn't feel good for me.
Yeah. No, 1,000%.
Like, so really being able to identify that and then just like make some space for yourself. But that journaling, that quiet time in the morning is game changer.
I think it's so important that we're now like focusing a lot on these things. Like this isn't something even 10 years we were talking about, or like putting a focus on mental health. And like we're just as women, downing Starbucks every 3 hours and like getting ulcers from all the stress because we're just like, no, keep it down, keep it down. Like great times. My youth, I'm like, I should have been youthful. And I'm like, ulcers, I was so stressed. So
Yeah, I joke at my office where I'll say like, okay, so depending on how you see me in the morning, if you see me like with my like celery juice cup and I'm all like, good morning, hello, that means I'm like in my zone. That means I was like meditating. I did my journaling in the morning. If you see me with like a cup of coffee from somewhere and I'm like being like, that means
they're different women. We're different women. Okay. We've got facets.
so depending on how you see me, I said, but if you do see me, sometimes if I do have a coffee cup and I have on like a scarf and like that means I'm in travel mode, then that's like a different one. There's like
I
different,
got them all.
but they're different morning ones of like, okay, so based on how you wake up, you can be intentional with your day. And I think that's also kind of where the book came in of like, how can I try to set my day from the morning to be intentional with how I want to feel today versus like, oh, I have this due, I have that, the kids have this appointment, I got to go here, I have this. There's 1,000 to-dos that you can always write down and be stressed out about, right? But then it's like, I'm going to choose to not do that.
Yeah. No, 1,000%.
Yeah.
I mean, and that makes sense, like for what you're doing. And I mean, the book is going to be huge and amazing. But after that, what's next in your career? Like your advocacy with the book, like I feel like this is just like another step to like start something new.
Yeah, well, I've definitely been on the road to doing speaking engagements with
So,
that, and then just some workshops, working with young women. I've done some different things like through my church and then through my work, but really just being able to kind of empower, young women to know that it's already, well, all you need is already within you.
yeah.
Right? Like how do you teach that to different people? So really the speaking engagements and being able to use the book to kind of continue working through that. And I have a few other books that I've been like working on my side mind path of like mom stuff that's like specific to like helping moms, but along the lines of what I told you about becoming the new mom as you add each child. Like I'm a new mom every time, but really just being able to kind of help in that space and empower, young women and mothers and in leadership positions to just know that everything they need is already within them. We sometimes seek that outside validation,
Mhm.
which, for me, it was like, okay, I need to get, my bachelor's degree. It's going to be in this, my exercise sports science. And then from here, and then I'm running for Nike. I want to travel the world. And then I'm going to have, like, I have all these things like checked off. And then at the end, I was feeling like, so what am I doing right now? Like, like I have all this stuff now, right? Like I have
Yeah.
2 degrees and I have this and I can, stand in a room and, but then it's like, but then what is that?
No,
Like,
1,000%. Like what are we all doing?
what is that? So really being able to kind of help everyone understand that it's already in you. It's already in you, and you just have to like find it, let your light shine, and be aware of like how bright it is. Because we often dim it without even knowing, because we're just being like, oh no, like I don't want to. No, that's okay. You can sit there. Oh no, you can. I remember being on the J train when I used to work in the city or Brooklyn. I was going somewhere, and I remember being on the train leaving from work, and I was pregnant. I was pregnant with my second child, and I remember standing. The train was like filled with people, and then I'm standing. And I'm kind of like giving the look like,
As you should, rude, especially
like,
men, move your butts.
yeah, and then I was like, and then I just said it. And I was like, is anybody gonna just get up? Because at that point I was a solid like 7 or 8 months. I probably should have just been like
Yes.
not on the train, but that part of like, I can do it. I am
Yeah.
robot lady. I can be everywhere. And like now that I'm like in my 40s, I'm thinking like, yeah, not doing that. Right. just because I don't have to, and I'm not going to force myself to do something to show and prove
Yeah.
to someone else when it's like it doesn't feel good. Finally, two people got up, and then they're like, "Oh no, I'll get up," and no, I'll get up, and it's like, no, I
Why
literally,
should I have to say this? Why do I have to teach people how to be decent humans? Do
yes, I
therapy
just,
all the time. I'm like, why? Like, I shouldn't have to explain
right,
to be a decent person. You're
yeah,
adults. Like,
yeah.
how did you not learn this?
Yeah, so the balance of again teaching, our youth that it's like no, those things to be a nice person and to be good and to be positive is already within you. Like
Yeah,
that's like in you, but once you quiet the noise and you kind of calm it down a little bit, then you're able to kind of elevate the more positive side of yourself.
1,000%. And I think I mean, it's so poignant. It really is to everything that we say and we do. And like, but also stick up for yourself, ladies. Like, that's
Yeah.
what you need to do. Like, move. When I have a ton of bags, I'm like, move. What are you doing? Like, I'm carrying container stores onto the sticks with like arms of bags. And I'm just like, I will murder you with my eyes. Get up. Isn't hard. So I do get that. Like, it's all, we're doing too much. Saving the world and no one even knows about it. But I think the shining bright, that's a great place for us to end. But I do have one last question I ask all of my guests. So
Yeah.
you talked about it a little bit in the beginning, but if you could just give one piece of advice to your 16-year-old self, what would that be?
Um, I mean, I don't want to say the same thing I said already, but like it's already in you.
Yeah.
Like you have it. Like you are that. What you're looking to be and what you think you need to do A, B, and C to be, you are already like you already have it. Like go for it. Put yourself in the position to do, what you want to do because you're gonna be successful at it. Like you have it already in you, you know. Yeah, at 16, I'm trying to think, what was I doing? So, I mean, I was still running and I knew that I had all that like in me, but there was, the self-confidence. Like as
Yeah.
a teenager, a teenage girl, you're kind of like, okay, what do I do? Like, do I, but that's when you're most susceptible to the messages from the world,
Mhm.
right? Of like the magazines and the commercials and like all these different things. And it's like, wow, is that how easy life is? Yes, life is that easy when you're not like chasing these like other things. Just tap in. So tap in is the what I would tell my 16-year-old self. You should be like, tap in. Tap into
Into what? And you're like, just tap in, girl. It's
just
gonna be
tap in.
great.
Tap into it. It's already there.
That's the adult in the room. And they're like, tap into what? Okay. Like, plug something in. You want me to plug something in? You're like, no, babe, you're gonna get it. Don't worry. It's gonna come
Right.
up and you're gonna be like, oh, now. Tap in now. I love that. I love that advice. I think that's so great. Melanie, thank you so much for coming on. Plug yourself, shout outs, pimp yourself out here, like where people can find you and the title of the book again and everything.
Yeah, so I am on LinkedIn. Melanie Logan is my name. I'm on Instagram as, oh wait, what is my Instagram name? Oh, I'm a fit mom. Wait, you have to edit this.
Would be Fit Mom, and I love that.
Let me find it.
She's like Fit Mom for doing all. It's like the longest handle known to mankind. We're like Fit Mom doing all.
No. Oh, the Mother's Fit Style.
Love that.
Yes, the Mother's Fit Style is my Instagram. And then I don't know, is that where you find me? Where are you supposed to find me?
No, LinkedIn, Instagram's great. And the book's name again, just so they know.
Focus Feelings, and it's
Focus
gonna be out in May.
All right, ladies. So start
Yeah.
getting your pre-orders on. And
Yes.
I'm so excited when it comes out to read it. I think it's going to be really great.
Yes, I will send you a signed copy.
Please do. We'd love a copy. Thank you so much for coming on. I think this is great. And I think a lot of women are going to get so much out of this.
Good, I'm glad. Yay.
All right, talk to everyone next week.